headed out to the Swell Event that Dennis Udink puts on a couple times a year, and I had the opportunity to get together with a cacher that I've known for a long time and has been caching for a really long time. She goes by the cache name Cause I Can. Her name's Gayle, and she's really put out a lot of really neat caches and just historical caches and caches just way out in the country. And she, does a lot of four-wheel riding and different things. But she's been caching for a long time, and she doesn't own any caches anymore. She put them all up for adoption. But I happened to get together with her at the Swell Event and had a really great conversation. So how did you get? So your caching name is Cause I Can, right?
Uh-huh.
So how did you come up with that? Do you remember?
Yeah. I had an ex-husband that always would tell me what I could and couldn't do.
Oh, really?
Kind of.
Is it an ex-husband? Is that what you're saying?
The ex-husband asked me why I did something. I said, "Cause I can," and it felt good, so that's the name I took.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. And you said you started caching in 2002?
2002.
How you got into it like right at the early stages.
I was working in Las Vegas, and I was setting up and tearing down conventions.
Okay.
And one of the guys I worked with was into it when it was really new and told me about it, and it sounded like so much fun. So I bought a GPS and learned how to use it and signed up.
So you found out about it before you had a GPS?
Oh yeah, I didn't know how to work a GPS until never. I'm still learning.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you live in Central?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you did you rode four-wheelers quite a bit.
Oh, I still do.
Do you still really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I love four-wheeling.
Awesome. And you have friends you go out with, or right in Central?
Everywhere.
Really?
Just everywhere. Sometimes I'm just in my truck.
Oh, really?
Because I think it can go anywhere a four-wheeler can go.
Okay.
Yeah, all my friends
then
have some
much
kind
easier,
of a four-wheeler and we just all go places together, spend the whole day or camp out or just have an adventure.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You've come to this event very much? You said you only came...
I don't always come to it, but I have been for...
Okay.
I don't even know when it started.
Huh.
But I probably started then.
Huh.
Just come when I can.
So do you have any of your caches anymore, or did you adopt them all?
They were all adopted except for my virtual.
Okay,
just
the Page Ranch. That's the only one.
That's all I got.
So occasionally you'll get emails from people.
Yeah.
Is there a plaque there? What's the
There
information,
is.
or is it a photo?
I think it was Department of. I think it was some agency that Daughters of Utah Pioneers probably I think put that up, and it explains the construction of the building and what a little bit of history behind it.
Actually, somebody hit a cache up there. I don't know if you remember Station 4. It was kind of
16.
Yeah. He hit a cache. He hit 2 caches up there. So I hiked up there, and I think I marched right past that grow camp. And I had a neighbor that was in the sheriff's department, and he described exactly where they arrested these guys, and I think I walked right past him, and it was like a week before they arrested him, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I
think I've done that a few times too.
Yeah.
Out at it used to be a place west of Central that what did we call that? Anyway, there was a bust out there, and I had been there just like the day before, so I knew exactly what they were talking about. So I was really close by.
You've been up here all week?
No, I just I just got up here. I got a room in Green River because I sold my trailer. Now it's either that or a tent, and it's too cold for tenting.
Yeah. Are you staying in Green River then tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
and
nice.
Tomorrow night.
Is Green River closer than Hanksville?
No.
There's a lot more places to stay.
Yeah, and there's some good restaurants there.
Yeah.
But it's not that far, really. It's about less than 50 miles. It's not far.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, like I said, coming in that way. And once you hit the freeway,
then it's only like 12 miles.
Yeah, to Green River. Yeah. When you headed back?
I want to leave. I want to do a couple of fun things in this area before I go home, but I got to get home before dark.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway.
Yeah.
Hey. I lived in Canara.
Oh, did you really?
And I went up in the canyon a lot, but I never went up to this Lock Canyon.
So you probably know Spring Creek then.
Not as well as you do. You've been places I haven't been.
Well, Spring Creek, I mean, there's a nice little trail there, and it's a beautiful day hike.
Wow.
In Canaryville Falls, well, if you lived in Canara,
I didn't know about Canaryville Falls.
Oh, really?
Nobody did.
Really?
No one that I have ever talked to had ever heard of it the whole time we were growing up.
Wow.
If somebody else knew about it and put it on the internet, and then we found out.
Really?
Yeah.
When I first hiked Canaryville Falls, it was kind of, I heard word of mouth about it. And,
that really changed everything about that little town. I mean, it was just so full of tourists and they would pull up on people's lawns and park.
Yeah.
And they it was like a war there for a while. I don't know if it got any better or not.
Well, what they did was they closed that road off way early, and so that added a mile. You had to walk up that road about a mile to get to the canyon. And then it was paid parking. You had to pay $10. You had to pay more than a national park.
I knew that the town made a lot of money off of that.
So they charged people there, and at first it was like an honor box there, and then they started sending somebody up that would like check every day.
Oh.
And and then there were signs, in front of everybody. You couldn't park on the street. I think the only place you could park
down the church
was down at the church.
Yeah.
And they would let people, but then that added almost another mile. Just to walk.
And it's hot in the summer. They were exhausted, those poor people.
Yeah, you had to walk clear up there, and so
I think I'll still go because I haven't been yet, and I need to say I've been there.
It's such a neat.
That's what everybody said. It's really worth it.
I couldn't believe the first time I did it. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is an undiscovered gem.
Oh yeah.
So close to Cedar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just this little undiscovered gem, and it's not undiscovered anymore. I mean, there is like so many people.
Have you been to the Vortex over in Gunlock?
Yeah.
That was like undiscovered too until somebody put it on the internet.
I don't know if I've actually been there, but Man Tracker had a cache.
Oh, he did, and that was down at the bottom.
Yeah, Beast of Burden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and that's in the Vortex, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No. It was way down at the bottom and piece of cake. But to get to the Vortex, you got to go up.
Oh, okay. I've never been to it. I've been to something.
You should. That's a really neat one.
But yeah, I think it's very similar to that. But yeah, that Vortex, I've heard about it, and I've wanted to go out there, but I've never been to that. And I'm a little surprised. And I'm a little surprised that nobody's put like a cache or earth cache or anything like that. But maybe I will.
I think you should if nobody has.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. I'm sure I could probably find how to get there real easy, but.
Well, you look for
because there's
camel humps or something up on the top of this.
Because there's a place that they're close called Sand Cove, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But finding the place to park and finding the trail to get down there, you're on your own pretty much. Yeah. But it's really nice. Well, I've seen people down there on horseback. That's kind of a popular horseback trail now too.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous country.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And all that area around Gunlock is pretty amazing too. And doesn't get seen a lot. And there's some neat history there. Who used to was it Pablo?
Uh-huh.
Who hit a cache? There was a cache down there called Shanghai Mormon.
Oh, I've
Do
been
you
there.
remember that?
Yes, yeah.
That is the neatest bit of history.
I want to know what happened to her.
And nobody knows anything about it. Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't. In fact, I researched that online, and the only resource I have about that whole story was just that cache.
That was it?
That is the only thing I've ever found out about. The only resource that I know of about it. And it
So
sounds
you can't
pretty.
hardly get there anymore, though. I've
Yeah.
tried recently, and it's just so the stream has changed. It's
Yeah.
overgrown, and
Well, and there's some private property. I think you might have
well,
to
you kind of
close
have
too.
to
Yeah.
go through a gate or
Yeah.
whatever, or get permission, I guess.
Yeah,
That was an interesting one.
that was a
We've
really.
got some great caches around here, old
Yeah.
historic caches.
Yeah.
How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail.
And then they came out with all the new kind of caches that they use these little bullet type of things, so tiny that there's a tiny little log in it.
The
You have
magnetos,
a
the little tiny.
little signature on there.
It's a little tiny scroll with a little
Uh-huh.
magnet, and you can put them. You can hide
Anywhere.
them in the worst places.
Yes.
Those are the most miserable invention ever.
I know it.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are
no.
awful.
I
Yeah.
kind of lost interest about that time. There was so much going on in my life, I didn't have time for it anymore. So that was all in the same time.
Yeah.
It was-
You know when those started? Kind of the micro things started coming out about. It was kind of close about the time I started, or shortly thereafter.
It might have been.
Maybe a year or two after after '05. But early on, I think you didn't have a lot of urban stuff because of 9/11, everybody was kind of nervous. So you started right after 9/11, but I think most of the caches were out in the country.
way out.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I liked to be way, way, way out, and I wanted to hide my caches where something had happened, something historic or a really good geologic feature or something. Until I got all silly and started doing silly caches. That was
Yeah.
fun too.
Well, in fact, I think your caches were the first caches that were of that.
You
Pioche.
did them all, I think.
Well, I've done a lot. Yeah, I've done a lot of them because those are in Iron County. But those Negro Eliza caches, just this side of Pioche,
Uh-huh.
I found those on the way to Wilson Peak, which is like a really old cache.
That is, I've been there too.
Yeah.
But that Negro Eliza well, that was a weird thing how I found it. I was always looking for it.
Yeah.
And there's all those things like the Negro Eliza wash and all these other names that was just always attracting me to that area. One day I was driving through there doing something else, and my GPS showed me, how the points of interest would come up, what you're driving past, what you're nearby, and it said Negro Eliza well. I go, really? Turned around and
Yeah.
just followed my arrow right straight to it.
Yeah, but that's
But the
interesting.
more I find out about that woman, the more fascinated I am. She was amazing.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of stuff online, and I think if you ask around Pioche, you can find out a little bit more about it.
We're going to go there, and we're going to go to Caliente and go to any place where we can get any kind of records and start really getting into it.
But that was a pretty rough town. Have you ever been to that cemetery?
Boot Hill?
Yeah, Boot Hill. That is the funniest thing. One guy was shot for stealing a dog or something. I mean, there was some of the
The stories.
some
Yeah.
of the craziest
They say
things.
that was the wildest west out here, but I think even Enterprise was the wildest west, or State Line.
Yeah,
The stuff that went on along the Utah-Nevada border.
yeah.
Oof.
Well, Milford was.
Oh,
kind
yeah.
That was kind of a wild place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the brothel by the geothermal plant is still there, and that one is.
I heard that.
Yeah, that one is still. It's still standing, and they had like
See, I haven't found that.
the hot springs ran right down. They had like a little pool and some little hot tubs.
They had that
and
all fenced in, and
Yeah.
there has a building there.
It was a really fancy one by the the standards, I guess, that you can have for those types of places. You
I
know.
think that was just more important than. Well, Gold Strike. Have you been out there at Gold Strike and
I wonder if
Springs?
these little guys
Gold
Yeah.
would
Strike got a
be
lot
interested
of.
to
I
pick up
saved
these cans if I
everything
paid
to
them
do with
money.
any kind of history, and I read an article
No?
a long
Not
time
even
ago
for
about Gold
cash?
Strike, and it was a big town. It had a hospital and hotels,
$4
and
in
a lot of
the first, I
bars, a
could give
lot
them
of
$2.
houses of low repute, or at
Never
least
know.
one,
Yeah.
and
Hi,
a lot
Charlie.
of people
Hi,
there.
Charlie.
And I think they all lived in tents, from what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, really?
Tent City. So do you remember that swimming pool outside of Modena that the CCC's built? And it's
Oh, yeah,
called
yeah.
Hey You Get Out of the Gene
That's
Pool.
right. That's right.
We went there the other day, and then we was just out wandering
He
around
likes
and run
walking
across
in his
their
stroller,
dump.
doesn't
And it
he?
was like probably the place where they had the kitchen
did you have to
facilities.
buy
They
all
fed
this equipment for him?
hundreds of kids that were out there being CCCs.
So these are
That was
pricey,
really
aren't
interesting.
they?
Hotel sites are.
That's
I want to go back and spend some more time out there too.
I got this for 15
What was
bucks.
Coach Steve had some connection to that.
You did?
Brand and everything.
What was that?
Do you talk to him much?
15 bucks.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, every now and then I talk to him. But I see him from time to time. And,
Good. He's on
Time to go to
Facebook.
sleep
Yeah.
again.
Well, you know.
yeah,
No, he's kicking. He's just looking at
yeah.
something.
But other than that, he seems
He
pretty
is.
good.
He sleeps a lot.
geocaching in
Most
this
babies
area.
his age only
He
sleep
really
once a
is,
year.
yeah.
Him
he's a
and the
legacy.
brats, they were kind
Yeah.
of the start of
They're
everything.
kind of the legacy of that in the area. Yeah.
I mean, he's gone up 2 close sizes.
Well, I met lots
He's
of
doing
neat people
good.
through this.
So
A
maybe
lot of
with
those
a little
people that
love
started
and a
about the same time you did.
little routine and nourishment.
A
will
lot of
do
those
for a
people have
baby,
kind of
Quit.
they've kind of quit.
Yeah.
They've kind of
Eventually-
let it go because it just. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
kind of for a variety of reasons. One is I think a lot of people were kind of turned off by urban micros
They were.
and power trails.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think that turns.
I was impressed with the first few of them,
Yeah.
but it was a lot of work. It's like, this
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they are a lot of work. That one down that ET Highway one, oh man, that's like
I didn't do that, but I
people
always,
come from all over the world,
I know.
from Europe. And, I mean, they come from all over just to do that,
Yeah.
just to drive that road stop every 500
There's
feet.
nothing out there. is there?
There's nothing out there.
I know what time it is. Gotta keep an eye
I
on
don't know.
this.
He said the sun's about ready to drop,
It's gonna get cold now.
and it is going to get chilly. I think it's getting close to 6.
It's time for me to head out.
Yeah.
But
You got
I'm gonna miss the
dinner waiting
fire.
in your room, and the explosions.
I'm gonna miss the explosions. That's what I'm really here for.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was fun talking to you.
Yeah, it was good talking to
I hope
you. You taking off right now then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, drive safe.
Say hi to say goodbye to everyone.
You coming back tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing in the morning.
Well, we'll see you in the morning then.
Tonight, I'll do